song for my friends.
Today on the show, we're going to talk about the coolest, sexiest superhero comedy book, Empowered. And it's not for younger readers because it has a lot of explicit content. Sex and violence. Let's talk about one of my all-time favorite comics, Adam Warren's Empowered. It's so good. I don't know. It's the characters, the writing, the story, the art. There's nothing bad in this comic. There's nothing bad going on in this comic. It's phenomenal, and I don't know why more people aren't reading this. Let me just start by talking about, let's just talk about Adam Warren. Now, I know a lot of you are like, oh, I don't like that anime looking crap, like blah, blah, blah. He draws bodies better than anyone out there. He draws the female body the best. It's crazy. And he draws men really good too, but people can't just get past big googly eyes for some reason. You totally should not read this because you don't like the way the faces look. Don't be prejudiced against art styles that you think you don't like. If you just read it, you'll get used to it and you'll really, really like it. And if you take off your stupid prejudice goggles, you'll see how amazing this artwork is. Now, another thing about the artwork that you might be thrown for a loop is it's all done in pencils. It's just pencils. There's no inks going on here. And you know what? I love it. At first, it was really like weird, but once you get used to it, again, once you get used to it, it's totally good. It's like even better because you know what? His pencils are amazing and they're far more beautiful than his inks. When you see his work inked and colored, like a lot of the life is taken out of it, and I applaud him for knowing that and for being like, no, why do I have to ink and color this? Let's just do my pencils because they're 10 times better. And he's totally right. They are 10 times better. In this day and age, you can get away with just doing pencils because of the print evolution, because scanning is so much better and printing is so much better than it was. In American comics, publishing just pages of pencils is not the norm. You never see this, but Adam Warren's pencils are so friggin' good that they'll allow it. So Empowered is about this girl, Empowered, that's her name. She's a super chica, and she's on this team, the Super Homies. There's a lot of tongue-in-cheek satire going on here that's really funny. So let's talk about the story of Empowered. Empowered, whose real name is Alyssa. Alyssa, aka Empowered, is this D-list superhero. She's always getting tied up. Everyone makes fun of her and puts her on like hottest dumb chicks of the year awards. Well, I guess you could say the main plot is for Empowered, also known as Alyssa, for her to like get over her body issues and for her to become like a well-respected superheroine and just make it. Something I think is really interesting about this character is that she started out as this like weird pervo character that he would draw for pervos, of like she would always get tied up and like gagged and stuff like that, but he ended up liking her so much that he's written and drawn 7 volumes. So Empowered's powers are, she has this alien symbiote membrane suit, and it makes her strong, and she can kind of like jump around, and she can like blast people with like lasers and stuff like that. But it's also just a membrane, and it's easily like torn. And once it's torn, her powers diminish a lot, okay? They diminish a lot. Plus, she also has a lot of body issues. Even though she has this like banging ass body, she's like really self-conscious about her ass because she has this like big fat ass and she's like really bummed out about it. And like the suit is like skin tight. I mean, they even go into talking about how she has to like shave everything because like if she doesn't shave everything, it looks really weird when the suit like gets on her and stuff. It's hilarious. Plus, there's a lot of sex in this. Now, as the novels go on, the sex kind of diminishes, which I think is sad because I really like all the sex scenes in it. And they're not like gratuitous and gross, but they're a lot of fun and they're super hot. And Adam Warren, like I said, really knows how to draw stuff. What's interesting about this character is that she has really low self-esteem and that she's always like trying really hard and she's like always getting like tied up, and then she gets like really embarrassed by it all the time and everyone's making fun of her and all the other super homies are like totally like objectifying her all the time, and she's like so bummed about it, and everyone's like, oh yeah, she's totally a slut, look at her costume, but she's like, that's just my costume and I can't help it and I really don't like it. And it's so relatable, it's so much fun. Like, Adam Warren is so good at writing females, it's crazy. He writes the best, most relatable female characters I've ever read. There's also another female character that becomes her best friend called Ninjette, and she's like a ninja and she's like super badass, and she helps Empowered kind of like develop her powers and get better at like fighting and things like that. And she like drinks all the time, and like she's like escaped from her ninja clan, and they just like want to use her womb to make more ninja babies, and like that's all they wanted to use her for, so she got out of there and she has to deal with that later on. It's really good. And Emp eventually finds like a boyfriend. She gets tied up by this like minion guy called Thug Boy, and then they like totally end up like doing it later on, and then they become girlfriend and boyfriend, and they're like so in love, and it's really cute. So as I was saying, her suit is like this membrane, okay? And like if she doesn't shave her bits, it looks like weird still wool or something. And so her boyfriend, Thug Boy, like giving her some shaving. He's like shaving her, you know, helping her out, you know? And then things get a little saucy and she starts getting some kisses, seeing if she's kissably smooth. And then he's totally going down on her. It's so much fun. But it's not just like gratuitous sex that's like, ugh, they're just fucking. It's like, it's sweet. Like, it's totally sweet. Cause like it was like makeup sex, cause she's been pissed at him because she found out that he had slept with Sister Spooky at some point in time, who's like her arch enemy on the team. Like, she's totally, Sister Spooky is a bitch to her all the time and makes her look bad. So she was like, oh my God, I can't believe you slept with her. This book is like, it just has so much heart. You know what I love about this comic? I love that Empowered is a good girl, okay? She's a good girl, she has good heart, she tries her hardest, she's gotta deal with a lot of shit all the time, she has like self-doubt problems, she has to deal with like problems that we all have, but she also likes to have sex. When do you ever see a good girl character who's also totally into sex and is like all about it? Like, never. It's only the bad girls who wanna have sex. And like, I don't understand that. Like, I don't understand this like whore Madonna complex in female character writing. It's ridiculous, okay? I love it. And I just have to reiterate that everything in this comic is drawn amazingly well. The shot selections, the boobs, the sex, the action, chains, guns, the speed lines, flying pizzas, backgrounds, everything is drawn extremely well, okay? It's like when someone's like grabbing a bottle, it's like there's just not anything awkward in it. There's no awkward panels ever. There's not one awkward body or pose. Everybody's so naturalistic. The clothes, he knows how to draw characters with clothes on, for Christ's sake. I am so sick to death of seeing people draw like skin-tight clothes on everybody, okay? That's ridiculous. Like when somebody's wearing a leather jacket, it looks like a leather jacket. When someone's wearing a shiny skin-tight bodysuit, it looks like a shiny skin-tight bodysuit. It's so good. His denim, oh my God, his jeans look good, the hair looks good, all of it, all of it. There's like this chain fight scene, okay? Ninjette is being attacked by her old ninja clan because they want to take her back and, like I said, use her womb to make ninja babies with. And somebody gets her with the chains, wraps her up with it, they're bringing her in, she grabs it with her foot, she wraps the chain with her foot around someone's throat, then she like puts her knee, brings it down, chokes the person out with it, and then like smashes their face into a tree. Can you, like, I can't even wrap my head around writing a chain fight scene. That's just, it's retarded. It's so good. You notice I'm missing number 2. I let someone borrow it and I never got it back. And yet another reason to love this comic is all the fun fourth wall stuff that Adam Warren writes into this comic. It's so perfect, and if you're a fan of Deadpool maybe and you like all that weird fourth wall stuff, you might like this.
I've noticed that I've gotten aroused after reading Empowered. How old would you need to be to read this comic?
You shouldn't let your 14-year-old read it or anything like that, but I mean, I guess maybe like, yeah, I mean, it depends on the kid, I mean, but there's like 69ing in it and shit, but I mean, it's not gratuitous 69ing, but I mean, it's in there.
It's classy 69ing?
It's classy 69ing. There's no dicks. Like, you never see a dick, so.
Okay.
But there are, like.
So it's like HBO?
Yeah, it's like HBO. Like, there's no dicks. Like, there's not really nipples, but there's, like, stuff going on. It's pretty hot. And to all you Comic Book Girl 19 nooblers, make sure to subscribe to my channel, like this video, like me on Facebook, and follow me on like Twitter and Instagram. I was introduced in Adam Warren through Gen 13. It is my 90s comic that I totally love. I really like Gen 13. I don't care who knows it. It's really good. He did these two weird, like, side stories for Gen 13. One of them, Magical Drama Queen Roxy, which I totally like. It's like this weird, like, Sailor Moon, Roxy, Gen 13, like, fantasy spinoff. And then he did Grunge the Movie, which is essentially like Grunge's like fantasy spinoff, where it's got all these like babes and like tits everywhere and guns and kung fu, and it's totally a lot of fun. Also, he wrote the Think Like a Gun ending for Gen 13. Oh my god, it was so good. He killed off the entire team. He killed off the entire team, and it was phenomenal. And I don't know why more people aren't reading this. I went to the comic book store and I like saw it and I was like, hey, oh my gosh, there's a big omnibus now. Side note, there's a giant omnibus of Empowered that has volumes 1 through 6 in it. There are 7 volumes. And everyone at the store was like, what is this? I just thought that was some cheesecake crap. And I was like, no, are you kidding me?